So now we have seen Madison is injured. We saw what happened. Dire to me, if Romero is injured and your replacement is Dire, then you're in a very dire situation.
Transit TV, welcome back again. Welcome back to the show. We're starting today with my man Nimi and Osborne, waiting on Choma and Funshaw and Ori maybe to join us today. Well, we already know it's the international break this weekend. For the next 2 weeks, there's not going to be games. We usually use this window to look at the performance of the big six teams in England, what they have done so far, their performance, the position on the table, their numbers, and outlook for the teams, as the league progresses. So today we're going to start with Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. But before we do that, of course, we know about the classic that went down over the weekend, Chelsea playing at home to City. That game ended in a 4-4 draw. It was a very massive classic, and we're going to touch base with that today before we go into the main course of the day. Of course, Nimi is here. He can't wait to talk about that game. Yeah, guys, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reggie. It's a pleasure to be here with Reggie and Nimi, as usual. We're going to have fun. We have a lot to talk about. It's the international break. But beyond that, we've had some ball-sitting action in the EPL. And it'll be great to kind of analyze what we saw last week and what we've seen over the past, 3 to 4 months or so, 3 months or so at the start of the season. So it's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, Nimi, good to see you again, bro.
Oh, man, thank you very much, man. Transit TV, that's where, the real soccer is being talked. This is the real. I'm really happy to be here again with my guys, Reggie and Osborne, trying to give you the undiluted analysis of soccer games, and looking forward to the 12-game MAC, and also I'm looking forward to the pulsating week there when we watch the classics. There's never going to be another game like what we saw on Sunday in the next few years to come. So happy to be here.
Yeah, last weekend we had a lot of time to look at other games. Of course, we knew that Chelsea City was always going to be the biggest game of the weekend, and it lived to be so. But there were also some very tricky or very funny results that came in. We remember Wolves beat Tottenham at home 2-1. And that game ended in a very dramatic ending. Wolves barely had the last kick of the game, and ran away with 3 points in that one. And that set the tone for the Sunday classic. City traveling to Stamford Bridge, many would have thought. Though on this program last week, I remember we were a little bit cautious based on how Chelsea has performed against the big teams throughout the season. Started the season against Liverpool. We know how interesting that game was. It was an end-to-end game, ending in a 1-1 draw. Chelsea played against Tottenham, the same outcome. It was an exciting game as well. Then they also played against Arsenal, and it was the same. They played the 4 big 6 teams. I think they have drawn 3-1-1. They beat Tottenham, drew against Arsenal, drew against Liverpool, and drew last weekend against City. So it was a little bit, I know we are a bit cautious in calling that game. Nimi was very confident, and kind of also, it was just with Chelsea, and I don't really know what you're going to get, but going by their performance against the big teams, we knew it was always going to be a show, and that it was. What's your overall thought about the game and feeling? How did you see it as a chance that they would have that Chelsea missed to win City, or the draw was a fair result of the game?
Thank you, Reggie, for giving me this opportunity. For a fan like me, this was a wonderful, a classic, a sweet, nourishing game filled with strong vitamin C. But from a neutral's perspective, that looks a neutral that looks at every detail, you will not be happy, especially with the level of defending at this level. For Christ's sake, this is the best level of the game. This is the EPL, the best, we say the best league in the world, the most competitive league in the world. And you would expect that teams will earn the right to dominate the opponent. You don't need to present your opponent with gifts on a silver platter of gold. I think out of those 8 goals, you and I, Reggie, Osborne, you guys will agree with me. About close to 4 or 5 of those goals could have been avoided. Would have been avoided. But nobody saw this game that it will end in a 4-4 draw. I did, I will hold my hands up. I did predict that Manchester City will deal with Chelsea, and I did say based on what has happened, the confidence level from the team. Although we were able to hold beat Tottenham 4-1, but that was like a shaky performance. Not until the 75th minute, So, but I did say, if the truth be told, I did highlight the importance of Enzo Fernandez, Moses Caicedo, and Conor Gallagher. I did say if Chelsea had any right or any chance whatsoever in this game, they needed to show cover Rodri and Bernardo Silva and block the routes of Alvarez. If they didn't do that, they were going to be in for a busy day, and they exactly showed that. All through the game. The only time I think they fell asleep was when Manchester City scored the 3rd goal, and I think that was on Enzo Fernandez. He paid that price, and if you check that, Pochettino was so angry at him, he took him off. In that transition play that gave City that 3rd goal, he was really, really, really angry with him. But Chelsea showed lots of bravery. I would say they showed a lot of bravery. You guys will agree with me. You were playing against the best team in the world. Nobody argues that Manchester City are one of the best, if not the best, team in the world. Because when Chelsea was able to force Man City back. They did that, and they put Pep. They pushed them all the way to the back. And if you observe, you watch the game, Reggie and Osborne, Chelsea allowed Manchester City to build from the back. And the moment they crossed that center line, you could see that press to dispossess them and go with a quick break. So I was really impressed with whatever Chelsea. I was really impressed with Chelsea, and they have to give themselves a pat on the back. And I did say for Chelsea to come up with anything, the players needed to give 110%. Raheem Sterling was absolutely brilliant. I've never seen an EPL player or any player in the world totally crucify, bring out torture, crucify, nail Kyle Walker to the wall, parade him, bury him, dig him out, dig him out on the 3rd day, brought him out. He really killed Kyle Walker on the wings, and he really showed why he was he's a 4-time EPL winner. So he really tortured Kyle Walker. And if you look at the way Pochettino played too, Chelsea has a very young team. I'm going to wrap up very soon. We have a very young team, and I said it here that if we are not going to win the league. Nobody's arguing about that. Even if, it will be difficult for us to make the Champions League. But if we could go toe-to-toe with all these teams this season and next season, add like a Victor Osimhen, that is a striker that is not worried about the build-up play, that always wants to be in the box, ready to put those chances in the box. You should be looking at Chelsea from a different perspective next season. We should be looking at them. So many positives from this game, and I'm really, really impressed with the Chelsea game. The only player that I think was really not impressive for me was Gusto on the chance. I don't know if you guys saw the chance that he makes on that chance that he makes there. So I just much high because we were not outplayed by Manchester City. We were not outplayed by Manchester City, and it was a good game.
Yeah, Osman, what was your what's your thoughts about the game before we go to a few details?
Yeah, well spoken, Nimi. I thought Nimi was on point with his assertion of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Very intense game played by two sides that came out to play. This is the beauty of the EPL that we talk about. When you have two teams with full of very capable, talented players, fight it out without fear, right? There's a place for tactics. And both teams have tactics in place, but both teams also had real offensive power. So when you have real offensive power, and the other team isn't just sitting back and trying to soak up all the pressure, then this is what you get. You get goals because you have offensive players that know what they are doing and are talented and are not afraid to take shots and actually do something. Raheem Sterling, I thought, was incredible. I saw a clip of some of his moves during the game, his nutmegs and all the one or two things that he was doing. I thought he played really well. He wanted to really give it to City, and we had the different underlying things going on with both Cole Palmer and Raheem Sterling. Both wanted to prove a point, being ex-Chelsea players, and they played like they wanted to prove a point. So it was good. You have someone like Kovacic that people are accusing of celebrating a goal when Palmer scored. I thought that was funny. So yeah, I enjoyed the game. It was really intense. I like the fact that Chelsea played without fear. They've shown this season so far that they are capable of matching up with the big boys. So that's what happens. You've invested a lot of money on quality players. And when those quality players see other quality players, they want to prove that they are good enough, that they are, capable and they deserve the amount of money that's been spent on them. So when we were talking about the game, I just knew somehow that Chelsea were going to show up. I actually predicted a Chelsea win, I believe, but it was a good game. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a good testament to football at the highest levels. And, the EPL will be better for it.
Yeah, I hear you guys and agree with you. Agree with what you have said, Limi, as well. Choma, you're welcome to the show. Good to see you again. As usual, shining and brightening up the room. Good to see you. How have you been?
Thank you. I've been great. Thank you. I'm sorry for turning up a little late.
Yeah, it's
I had
okay.
to get my minions to calm down before I got out.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so for me on the game, my summation actually, if you remember, we chatted after that game. I believe that Pep was arrogant and disrespected Chelsea throughout that game, and that's why we got what we got. Why I say that is because when City played against Arsenal, we know the approach that City took to that game. They were a little bit more cautious and more defensive, and try to outsmart. Both teams try to outsmart each other. But against Chelsea, probably he felt that that Chelsea did not have what it took to break City down or outplay Chelsea, and he got it for it. Because for me, as that game was, at some point in that game, City was leading, and they didn't sit back. They didn't try to protect their lead. They kept playing the way they were playing, and they paid for it. So that's what I think that happened in that game. Pochettino already know that he tries to play on the front foot, and he has done that against all the big teams. So for City to allow Chelsea to lose that kind of space and traveling the way to to Stamford Bridge. I believe for me, the media will not say that because everybody respects Pep. People feel that he's perfect, doesn't make mistakes. I believe it was Pep's arrogance that threw away those 3 points, those 2 points for City, because we all know City is better than Chelsea. We know that. There's no doubt about that. And they should or would have won that game if they approached it in a different way, because they're in different stages of their evolution as teams. Chelsea, of course, is hit and miss right now. Sometimes they do good, sometimes they don't. City is a more stable and a very oiled machine. So if there's anything, they're supposed to win the game, and they had the chance to win the game. But because of the approach that Pep took in that game, that's why we got what we got. You can call it a classic, but again, like Nimi said, it was also some elementary defending by both teams, which is not acceptable at that level. That's the way I see the game. Some people say it was interesting, yeah, but I don't think there was carelessness on both sides, and that's why we got the 8-goal thriller. But I mean, for neutral, for other rival clubs, probably was a good result. Because for us now, City dropped 2 points, Chelsea dropped 2 points. So, but looking at it as a game, it had its shortcomings. Before we move to our agenda for the day, Choma, let me ask you in particular, this boy Palmer, what's your take about him? Because I remember, I think he's the last signing Chelsea did this summer, and when that transfer was conjured, many were like, Chelsea still signing.
It was a late one.
Yeah,
I think
it was the last one. It was the last one. And but I think the boy has come in after 2 or 3 games. Poch brought him in, and he has remained immensely. I think he has scored 4 consecutive penalties now for Chelsea, which shows you how strong mentally the young man is. Though, because he's not been getting his chances at City, people tend to think that he's young. They say young, but he's 21. 21, I think Saka is 22 or something like, or about the same age. So, he has not really been playing at this level for some time, but I don't think he's that young. Though he has also shown if he's what's this guy's name? Say cojones, because the penalties he has taken for Chelsea have been ones of at very critical times of the game, and he showed some depth mentality and took those penalties in a very neat manner. And his performance in the game as well looked like a vintage performance. Then I watched his body language after the game, like I told you when we were talking. He wasn't showing any emotion. It was like he was walking around as it was just another day in the office, and that shows for me a lot of mental strength for a young man of that age. What's your take?
Okay, so there's this thing I think about Manchester City's dressing room. They are very thorough when it comes to working on the mentality of football players. So having not gotten enough time to showcase his talents with Manchester City doesn't mean he has not been cut from the same block we all admire and know. So when you're coming from Man City, it's not just about having a winning mentality. You're already a winner. Look at what they did last season with the treble. So you can imagine being in the dressing room or being on such a bench of stars, bench of aspiring stars. So looking at Cole Palmer, he caused an upset for Arsenal during the Community Shield. That was him, right?
Yeah.
He caused a complete upset, and when he came in, I was like, oh, this footballer doesn't seem convincing enough. He's kind of skinny and has the whole bird arm movement and everything. But he seems to know how to carry his size and carries his leg very well. He's a very coordinated footballer, if you ask me. He's got the stamina and balance at the same time that can be very, very, very dangerous. So this is what I think about Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is coming from Man City with a winner's mentality, and then he moves into Chelsea. Chelsea is building on something we used to know the former Chelsea. So Cole Palmer going to one of the biggest clubs, in England. He already has a mentality. So he's going there to do the work. And seeing him on the turf, for me, is very much expected. And look at him, he's been called up already, at that time. With, the speed in which he was called up means that, he has some tenacity and a very bright future ahead of him. So for a player, I think we're going to be seeing more of Palmer, more of him in Chelsea. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. I think we'll talk more about Chelsea and City in the days to come. Today, we're looking at Liverpool. So far in the season, after 12 games, Liverpool, and we're also looking at Tottenham as the day progresses. Liverpool is fourth on the, I think they are second on the table with 28 points.
Not now, are they? Oh, they are.
Yeah, they're second on the table with 28 points out of 36 points. They've played 12 games, won 8, drawn 3, and lost just 1. And considering what happened to Liverpool last season, many wouldn't have predicted this start. Yeah, we expected them to bounce back this season, but I don't think many would have predicted. I didn't feel during the summer that they did a balanced business to really push for a title charge. But so far, it's looking good for Liverpool, and I think they're doing good so far. They're still, it's not a perfect team. I don't think they have a perfect team. I don't think the balance is right for Liverpool presently, but the numbers are looking very good. They have they're 6th on the table in average ball possession. They scored 27 goals, third on the table for that category. In first half goals, they've scored 12, which is second on the table for the league. And they have 15 goals in second half. They have about 177 shots, which is second on the table, and 67 shots on target, number 1 in the league. And off target, they're also number 1 and considered 10 goals so far. In the Europa League, they're also doing good. Out of 4 games, they've won 3 and lost just 1. The last one they lost against Toulouse, they gave up a lead in that game. So if you look at those numbers, they are not looking bad. And let's look at them. And do you guys think Liverpool can sustain this performance and this title push? For me, I believe the mentality or the mentality that the club teams play with, we are seeing it back in Liverpool. But there are still some inconsistencies sometimes that I find Liverpool this season. And they made a lot of signings. They added about 3 or 4 players to their starting 11, which means it's going to take a little bit of time for the team to gel. Salah, we know all the noise about him leaving Liverpool during the summer. He ended up not leaving and has become the most important player this season. He has 8 goals to his name in the league. The highest goal scorer, and I think it's a joint assist as well with Nunes, 4 assists as well. So which means for me, it's also he has managed that noise in the summer very well. I'm focused on his game. So I don't know. Let's then of course Liverpool as well has been a victim of the VAR debacle this season as well. We all remember the notorious VAR performance against Tottenham. That gave Tottenham 3 points. I think that was the only game Liverpool has lost this season. So let's look at Liverpool and Nimi, let me start with you. Do you think that in terms of ferocity and mentality, do you think Liverpool is back, considering what happened to them last season?
Well, I think we have to look back. Liverpool last season, they lost steam. It felt like everything became stale. Sometimes when a coach comes, it's refreshing. At the point it becomes stale, you need to rebuild. And what did they have to do? Last season they were not covering as much ground as they were covering, and Klopp knew at the heart of the midfield there needed to be changes. Out was Fabinho. Out was Henderson. All those players left, and they brought in fresh new faces. They had a solidify. They had an Alexis McAllister World Cup winner that I felt should be, really, really expensive. They got him, I think, for about 40 million pounds.
35.
35. They brought in a Ryan Gravenberch from Bayern Munich, a promising, hard tackling midfielder. They brought in a huge talent in Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
And they wrapped all of it with Wataru Endo from the German Bundesliga. Where does this show all of this? All of this is showing Klopp knows for him to compete, that midfield needs to be solidified. The central midfield, he needs to reinvigorate that, and he did that. I think in the long run, I think in the past, in 12 games, apart from the game they were unjustly cheated out against Tottenham, and the first game of the season against Chelsea, I think Liverpool has shown in the EPL, they've shown consistency. They've shown a team that team should be worried about. They are playing every week, week in, week out. Those defensive lapses that we came to know Liverpool for last season, they're seeming to cut that short a little bit. Are those lapses still there? Yes, they're still there, but it is being minimized. With the presence of Gakpo, Salah, Nunes off and on, you call him a kabu striker, but no, he has some class to that kabu. He's more of a uber kabu striker, but he's showing promise, and you look at that defense, you look at that midfield, you look at that attack. That team is well oiled. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this season if Liverpool is challenging City towards the end of this season. So I think Liverpool has done well, and they will continue to do well and continue to play better.
Ugum, let me ask you, if you're to be a Liverpool fan, what will be your biggest worry so far? Having watched your team play 12 games, win 8, draw 3, and lose just 1, and flying in the Europa League. What will be your biggest worry that you think that can stop Liverpool from, winning the league or Europa League this season?
That's a very smart question. I would say 2 reasons. One would be scoring goals. Nunes seems to be a specialist at hitting the bar or being offsides, as opposed to actually sticking the ball in the net. The guy gets numerous chances during the game, even their last game, chance after chance after chance. He flopped. Either he played the shot too close to the goalkeeper, or he's offside when the ball gets to him and all that. So they will need consistent goal scoring. Fortunately for them, they still have Salah in that club. As long as Salah is in that club, they have a chance, because he will always find a way to put the ball in the net. The second problem I think they may have be if an injury happens to Van Dijk. The Van Dijk seems to be regaining his form, but still, they are still frail in defense. It's still the same guys there. Konate doesn't seem to have really improved and really grabbed that Liverpool centre-back position and kept it the way he's supposed to, considering his talent. And so Van Dijk is still the man that holds everything together and all that. By buying Endo and the rest of them in the midfield and Gravenberch, they've been able to at least have some energy, and McAllister as well, have some energy around the midfield to chase balls and retrieve balls and recover balls. Now is to be able to put the ball in the net and be able to defend properly at the center of defense. Those are the 2 weaknesses I perceive that they have.
Yeah, I hear you. I think I agree with you. Jamal, okay, let me on the flip side, if you're being a rival fan, what are you worried about most for against Liverpool? Like Arsenal, for instance, many thought that Arsenal was going to be the team that will push City to the challenge for the title this season, which they are doing, but it looks like Liverpool have found themselves in the mix. So as an Arsenal fan, what's your biggest worry, going to this, continue this season with against Liverpool and trying to win the league?
So I think my biggest worry is, which is a good thing for Liverpool, is that they are catching up. Unlike last season, they had series of injuries, the likes of, I'm not sure how many matches we saw Jota in, and then the likes of
Van Dijk
Diaz was out there, and then he wasn't out there again. You had Van Dijk, he was coming in and out, and then they had to play the likes of Matip versus Gomez. That back is usually a total mess. So this guy, the guy from Greece, Tsimikas, I also like his pattern of play. So he was in and out last season. So they were just all over the place last season. But incoming, like this season, they went and made very necessary buys. They're building a depth to their team, just like Arsenal did. So I'm scared of the depthness in their bench now, because now they are bringing guys in and out. You have the likes of Elliot, the guy with the curly hair. When he comes in, there's usually his very craziness about the way he plays football. And before you know what's happening, he's creating chances and even trying to score. So as a rival fan, I'm scared of the depthness in their team.
Squad,
Yeah, the squad depth, because everybody is back, but I mean, still their defense seems to be their problem, but apart from that, that's what I'm scared of. Because they are back and back.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. But for me, if you look at the big teams right now, the number 6 position has become a very, very important position for every team. I don't think that Liverpool handled that recruitment very well over the summer. Endo, for me, I don't think he's a top 6, and he's on the other side of 30 with his age. I didn't think he was going to be physically ready for the EPL, and he has shown so. He's a good player, but in terms of power and dictating play, Liverpool, I believe, is short in that position. That's the place I feel is going to be a worry to them, because considering what you said, Choma, about their defense, that's the more reason why that position is very important for them. Because if they had a better, like Arsenal has the Declan Rice and Partey is fit, you have Rodri in City, and Chelsea has Enzo and Caicedo in that position. If not for what we are seeing have happened to Casemiro, considering what happened last season, United also have a very strong player in that position. You go to Tottenham, they've managed to also have Pasuma and a few other players that play in that position. So that's the only place I think I have a little bit of worry for Liverpool. I don't know, because I've seen them many times. Klopp has not trusted Endo to start game for Liverpool in that position. He has managed to, he plays McAllister, who is not a defensive midfielder. So he tries to use more of the front foot to defend, to put teams under pressure. But he can't keep doing that all through the season. You need that stability in the heart of the midfield. For me, that's the only area I think Liverpool might be short. Gravenberch, good player, but he's still young and coming to a new league. It's going to take him a little bit of time to settle. So this season, that might be my worry for Liverpool. And like Ubum said, without Salah, he can, like I said, he's the highest goal scorer, and he's also joint assist with Nunes, four assists to his name for Liverpool. So which means they are relying heavily on Salah this season. If anything is to happen to Salah, they might have problems. Diaz is a player that I used to be very worried about as being a rival fan to Liverpool, but I think there is a kind of inconsistency with him. He has this burst in games, but sometimes there's nothing to show for it. He can score some flashy goals every now and then, but there's no consistency of production of numbers with regards to goals and assists.
I think it's injuries.
Yeah, I know he was injured last season. Even before he got injured, he has this ability to wow you with a performance or a goal. But like somebody like Salah is not flash. Salah doesn't, but consistently he produces. If he doesn't score, he creates goals or creates havoc for opposing teams. So I believe those are the two areas that Liverpool might come short this season: over-reliance on Salah to create and score goals, and the heart of the midfield, their number 6 position, I don't think is strong enough when you compare it to the other other teams like Arsenal, City, Chelsea, United, Casemiro, though we know Casemiro this season, I don't know what's going on with him. He's not been himself, so that's my take for Liverpool. And I forgot to mention, they talk about the disciplinary record for Liverpool. They have 4 red cards, number 1 in the league, and 21 yellow cards in that one, that is 17. So they are doing good. Total cards for the season so far for them is 25. And that puts them on the 14th position in the league, which is not bad. Only for the red card, that's where they are top on the table. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I know you already predicted that Liverpool is going to push City at the end of the season to the title. Choma and Ugum, what do you think is going to be Liverpool's season, considering the league this season? Do you think they're going to push? They're going to top 4, win the league, second? What's your expectation?
I think they will. They are capable of finishing top 4, and I'll tip them to finish top 4 because of their pedigree. Because not too long ago, at least half of this team won the EPL, right? And perhaps even no, not the Champions League, but at least they won the EPL, and they dominated the local scene. If you've done it before, there's always a chance that you can do it again. So that's the thing about the EPL. And once they get into a role where teams become afraid, the EPL is such a confidence league. If teams get scared of you, it becomes a lot easier for you because they don't really come out to play. They come out afraid, and it gives you an edge in every game. So that's what City has now, and they are really milking it and using it. So don't let EPL teams feel that they can beat you. Once they feel so, they will come for you, and there's a chance that on a bad day or any given day they can beat you. So, yeah, I would tip them to finish top 4.
Kema, what about you?
Well, just like Boom said, I mean, they were tipping them to come up top 4. I think with what has happened to Tottenham at this time in the season, I see them, going further than, they are. And so Liverpool is going to take the place of Tottenham, and we can move on from that. I heard when Nimi said Liverpool is going to be chasing City for the title. And I'm like, if Liverpool is chasing City for the title, like, where's us? Where's United? Where's Chelsea?
I will answer that
So now you're driving.
What are you? Answer, Mimi, please.
She said, where is Arsenal? Where is, first of all, for you to chase for the title, you need to have people that could score goals, put balls in the net, consistent scorers. You have a Gabriel Jesus that hasn't scored 25 goals ever before in his career. You have a Nketiah that hasn't scored 15 goals ever in his career.
Okay.
You have you have players that are inconsistent. Nketiah comes in today out. What you call him? Jesus is played 2 games, out for 10 games. You need in the home stretch, traditionally for people that have won the league, you need consistent players, which right now Arsenal is 2 injuries away from totally capitulating. And that is Rice. If Rice gets injured, I pray he doesn't. A part of me says yes. But if he gets injured, and Saliba, remember last season, Saliba got injured or was out of the team. What happened? Do you remember what happened?
Mimi, that was last season. That was last season. It was last season.
Maybe I hear you. I hear you, but
the worst thing for you that you should be worried about is this. If I'm an Arsenal fan, the gulf in class between Saliba getting injured and you put a Ben White or Kiwa in there, or Rice getting injured, the gulf in class in your substitution or the people that take over, it's a lot. And you should be worried about that.
Let's not make it about Arsenal. We'll talk about Arsenal later in the week. But one thing I will just tell you is that We know what happened to City when Rodri did not play 3 games. I've always said this, and I tell people, every team has 5 core players that when they are not available, it affects the team. There's no team that has the same quality. One of the reasons why City has lost 2 games in the league and drawn, I think, 1, is because people like Kevin De Bruyne are injured. You don't tell me that if Kevin De Bruyne was playing for City, they're going to have to lose those games. Rodri did not play 3 games. They lost 3 games at the row. So there is always going to be that player that if he's not there, it will show. So to use that as a reason that why Arsenal watch challenge, for me, I don't think I agree with it. The Liverpool that you're talking about has scored 26 goals so far. Arsenal has scored 24. So there's no much difference. In terms of defense, Arsenal has considered 10 goals, I think. And Arsenal has scored to 26. Liverpool has scored 24. So in terms of goals conceded, Arsenal considered 10 goals. They're the best defense in the league so right now. So teams have different way of playing. Arsenal shares their goals, while teams like Liverpool are relying on Salah. So if Salah is injured, what do you think will happen to Liverpool? So they can always use the argument either way against any team. So, but let's move on. We are going to move to. Let's welcome Reynolds. He's from Canada. He's my friend, an ardent Chelsea fan. It's been difficult to get him on the show today. He had managed to join us. Ray, it's good to see you, man, and welcome to the show.
Sorry, I had to take care of the school run. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, good to see you, bro. Yeah, we are looking. Welcome. Usually on Transit TV, I'm sure you've been watching our programs during the transfer window. Usually to look at the big 6 teams, how they have been faring in the last international break. So this time around, of course, the league has played 12 games. We're looking at the big 6, and today we're looking at Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. We just rounded up Liverpool now. We're moving on to Tottenham. And I'll give us some numbers for Tottenham. Tottenham at the moment is 4th on the league, and out of 12 games, they've won 8, lost 2, and drawn 2. Tottenham, we also know, has been in the middle of a few VAR controversies this season, and they have come out from most of the time on the positive side of it. And on the average ball possession in the league, they are 5th on that table, averaging 59.9 possession of the game, and they have scored 24 goals, which is 7th on that table for the league. First half goals scored 10, 6th, and second half goals scored 14, 7th, and they have had 179 shots, total shots, which is the number 1 in the league, but on target is 67, 2nd. And goals conceded, they conceded 15 goals. They are 5th on that table, that category in the league. And disciplinary the side of things, they've received 3 red cards, making them 2nd worst team in the league in red cards, 36 yellow cards, total of 39 cards, placing them 3rd on that table, which is not good at all. So these are the numbers for Tottenham. Their highest goal scorer is Son. He has scored 8 goals, followed by Kulusevski, 3 goals, and Maddison, 3. On the assist table, the highest creator has been Maddison. We all know that he has assisted 5 goals, and followed by Richarlison, 3 assists. So this is Tottenham in a nutshell so far this season. At the beginning of this season, after 2-3 games, there was this noise of Ange ball. Yeah, we know. I cannot understand the reason why there was that noise, because Tottenham has, the last 4 coaches that play for Tottenham, that they've approached their game with this package the balls and negative approach to games. Or Ange ball came and has tried to be brave. But there's one strange thing I found out when I was looking at the number for Tottenham. They hardly score more than 2 goals. All their games is either 2-0, 2-1, 2-0, 2-1. They've only scored more than 2 goals in 1 game, which was their 4th game of the season, 5-2 away win to Burnley. with all the noise, do you think the hype for Ange has been is justified, or do you think that he has been overhyped so far, Ugun?
Well, there's a level of justification I can give to the hype that Angie has had. I would say it's justified to an extent, not justified to an extent. Justified to the extent that when you watch Tottenham, I actually watched their a couple of last games. I was impressed. Impressed in the sense that they are really playing like almost like a machine. They are able to move the ball around without any issues. There's a fluency in their attack, in the way they control the ball, in the way they possess the ball, in their passing. Their passing also has purpose, from what I've seen. Not just doing the normal tiki taka and just passing to the next person. It's passing with some incision involved. So that's what I impressed me the most: the fact that they are able to progress the ball even while passing and getting in, creating some dangerous overloads. Kulusevski has been very, very key in this process. He's been very, very good for them. You know, crossing the ball, creating opportunities, cutting in and allowing Poro go behind him, laying off the ball and creating opportunities for both Son and this young guy that they got from Nottingham Forest. I've forgotten his name. He is also playing well. So you made some very important points around their goal scoring. You know, looking at it, Son is the only proven goal scorer there, really. Richarlison is not a proven goal scorer, struggles to score goals. So they don't really have that offensive part. There's no way that Harry Kane can leave a side, a club, and you don't feel his absence, right? They've depended very, very heavily on both Son and Harry Kane over the last 3-4 years. And as much as everybody will want to sugarcoat it and say, hey, they're not really missing Harry Kane, we will see. This is just the first 12 games of the season. We've already started seeing, some frailties in putting the ball away and scoring goals, right? If Harry Kane were to be in this team with the way they are playing, trust me, I'm sure that they will be doing a lot better in scoring goals, in closing out games, and all that. So, yes, they are still missing a goal scoring element. I don't know what they plan to do in January, whether they're going to buy. I hear they are also after Ivan Toney. I don't know how much they have to invest, but yeah, they probably need another proven, goal scorer to assist Son in putting their chances away, because apparently with the way they are playing, they are creating chances and they'll keep creating chances. Madison is a key player also in good form, working very well for them. So yeah, goal scoring is a place is an area they may need. They will need to show up if they want to finish top 4.
Yeah, let me touch base with you right there. Let me take it out from your last submission about Arsenal and Liverpool, talking about Liverpool. Oh, in this team, in Tottenham, like Ugum said, in the eye, they have looked good so far, deservedly. They've played well. Sorry to say that as an Arsenal fan, I'm not allowed to say that, but I have to say it. So when you look at this team, Madison, Son, and Lusega, like Ugum mentioned, and of course at the back, this young man has come in, Van der Beek, and he has really done bits. As we speak, Van der Beek is injured. I don't know how many weeks he's going to be out. Romero has red card. He's not going to play for the next 2-3 games. And Madison is injured as well. And we know that Madison is prone to injuries. Looking at this, do you think Tottenham fans should be rather cautious and worried than the noise some of them are making that they have what it takes to push for the title this season?
Reggie, that's for me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't hear you. But we all knew that this was all noise. Typically, I looked at it as the new manager bounce. Tottenham Hotspur, they don't have a big score for you to win the league. you need quality and a big squad. As I stated earlier, it takes 2-3 injuries to show the clear weakness of that team. Again, I said last week, Ange is too stubborn of a manager to succeed in the EPL. If you watch the game against Wolves last week, they were winning 1-0. And typical, you had, for example, a Jose Mourinho, Arteta. All you need to do is to solidify 90th minute, seal that game. When Mourinho was coach of Chelsea, or they just bring in John Obi Mikel to come seal that game. Tottenham Hotspur, watch the goal again. Tottenham Hotspur were still trying to play from the back. And that's how they got that throw in. And 90th minute, you need to tune the ball, go back, defend. 2 matches straight now against Chelsea, he was stubborn. Instead of him to go back and defend deep, he wanted to come out and play the high line. And last week, he was just, again, being stubborn, again, being crazy with that style of play. But he has said, even if they're losing 20-0, he will still play Ange ball.
The Ange ball.
So I think he's just, again, stubborn. But what I is Tottenham, at the end, I don't see Tottenham finishing in the top 4. Are they going to play? They're going to have flashes, as Osborne said. I do agree. A player like Harry Kane in this team would have blossomed. Unfortunately, they don't have that. They have Richarlison, and they have the boy they got from Nottingham Forest. I've forgotten his name now. Those are not going to give goals. Those are not going to give 25, 30 goals a season.
Johnson.
Yeah. You need those kind of players, consistent players, to get them. So now we have seen Maddison is injured. We saw what happened. Dire to me, if Romero is injured and your replacement is Dire, then you're in a very dire situation. So we need, they will need to invest in the they need to bring in players. And I don't see Tottenham going. I see Tottenham fizzling out. If 2 things has to change, they need to buy players, they need to solve the attacking line, and they need Ange needs to stop being stubborn. He reminds me of I don't know if you guys remember Ange Villas-Boas, of the former Chelsea coach.
Yeah, Chelsea and Tottenham as well. Tottenham as well.
But he was so clear, but he was so stuck in his ways. So that's where I see Tottenham finishing. I don't consider them as a top 4. I think they are punching above their weight.
Choma.
It will fizzle out, yes.
Name a top class pun intended statement there. Nice one.
Dire situation. Choma, you there?
What?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Okay, so let me touch base with you, Choma, before I go to Reynald. Yeah, I was going to talk about the Ange ball and the stubbornness of Ange so far. He has shown in the league this season. And he reminds me of Arsene Wenger to an extent, the second part of his career in Arsenal. He had that issue as well, where he just was just stubborn about what he wanted to do. I know Tottenham and their fans have been complaining about Mourinho, of course. First of all, they had the Nuno Espirito Santo that came from Wolves and played back in the boss format. He left, Mourinho came in, did the same thing. Conte came in. Conte is even a worse coach in that regard. And it felt like there's a bit of a fresh air when Ange came and tried to play expansive football, which is what Tottenham historically are known for, though they have not won nothing with it in the last, 40, 50 years. So now this man has come in. It looks like this is what he's bringing, and the owners or the board support him to do that. If you're a Tottenham fan, do you think he should be stubborn with it, stick with it, and develop that kind of football for Tottenham, regardless of what it cost the team this season? Or considering that Tottenham has not won nothing so far in so many decades to go, they're already out in the Carling Cup. Should he adapt the play somehow to guarantee or give them a chance of winning the trophy this season? If you were a Tottenham fan, what would be your take?
Well, if I were a Tottenham fan, you know how normally I would say Ange is trying to build on something that had been built before. All he needs to do is just to oil the equipment and put them to work. Okay, whatever he thinks he's doing, the work has been done for him. Because I feel like he needs to get around and understand that he needs to rewire that whole team. Because for how many years Tottenham designed a playbook that worked around Harry Kane. Okay, so now they need to do a clean work of getting every Tottenham player to recognize their personality. Richarlison, while he was in Everton, was a very beautiful footballer to watch. He gets to Tottenham, he becomes a shadow of himself, plays lost most times, and now he's having bouts of injuries. So if I were a Tottenham fan, I'll tell him to be serious. I mean, that high line was the highest line that anybody that watches football should have seen in the history of high line. It wasn't beautiful, it was tacky. That was some show of tackiness as far as seriously. You should never do that. Everybody was on him for the high line. The whole week people talked about it. And then he goes again with Wolves, like Wolves. You don't do that with those guys. They are who they are because of what they can do. When you're playing Wolf, you have to be very, very, very serious, be flexible, yet dynamic. But he was busy fussing about and then he lost himself again. He's not serious as far as I'm concerned. And talking about the whole, let me just talk about Harry Kane. Okay, yeah, there's never going to be another Harry Kane, in Tottenham. But now I feel like there's somehow Harry Kane understudy that son trying to do the work, because it looks like he was under so much pressure when Harry was there. And now Madison is the new son, and now he's out in Jordan, and all of that is happening. So if there is something Ange needs to do, he needs to get personalities, first of all, for those footballers. They don't have personalities as far as I'm concerned. Seriously, they ain't got no personality for me. They need to find themselves. You just have about 5 serious players on that team, and the rest are just, I don't know, ball boys.
Yeah, Red, I don't know how many of Tottenham games you have watched this season. What's your overall thought about Tottenham, and what do you expect them to achieve this season, considering the whole noise about Ange ball and we're going to win the league? And as you think about that, that's another aspect I want us to already to touch base with. For a very long time, Tottenham fans has been at it with their owners. And it looks like all of a sudden they have this marriage now that is blossoming. Do you think that Tottenham fans have quickly forgotten about Daniel Levy and what he has done to them in so many years with regards to signing of players and stuff, and all of a sudden, they've gone quiet on that? Or should they still be, insisting on things changing in terms of transfers for the team?
Thank you for the opportunity. I'll start with saying, Tottenham fans can be patient a little bit. Having said that, that's a little change, especially with the big departure of Harry Kane, who I think they again have to move around.
I can barely hear it.
Yeah, your volume is low. Increase your volume a little bit.
You can hear me. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's low. Let me see if I increase. Yeah, it's a little low.
How clear is it now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So, yeah, with Harry Kane off to Germany and the new coach in town, I think it's shown that Levy's is listening and is willing to bring in that vibrancy or that change or whatever they are asking for. And I don't think it's going to work overnight. Like I say with Chelsea fans, you have to be patient. This is no magic. This is about a person coming with a game plan, his game plan, as against an existing game plan, right? This is about somebody picking players as against existing players. So it's not going to be magic. It's not magic one. It's going to take some time. But the way they are playing gives hope. Yeah, I understand that idea of I want to play my game. Even when you're losing, you still want to play your game. And most coaches do that. They, like when you talk about the Sarri ball, if he's losing, he's still playing his game. Stubbornness is good sometimes. But I still like buy the idea of people of being dynamic a little bit. You know, when you watch your opponent, you kind of tweak your game a little bit to be able to manage them. Some opponents are not good with your high lines because they'll run you over like crazy. And when you have certain situations like he had in Chelsea, you have a situation where you have two players out and you're still playing very high. That to me is a level of stubbornness that needs to be studied. Very big level of stubbornness that I didn't understand. Like you were supposed to go and contend Chelsea instead of try to put them. These guys are mad guys. They are speedy. They are very fast. Just that they weren't getting the goals from time, but now they are. So it was crazy. But I understand what he's trying to do. Stay on my game. So that your players get to understand your game first.
Yeah.
And maybe gradually you can tweak it. But at least let them get used to a game pattern that the coach has. It will not favor you everywhere, but it's what it is. Every other team does the same thing. What's his name again? The Man City coach, who is arguably the best coach in the English league today. He stays on his game. He does just minor tweaks here and there, but he stays on his game all the time. If he's losing, he's still playing his game. Just most times when you leave your game, you confuse your team because they're used to this, they understand you like this. And you do that tweaking, it becomes confusion and they might lose worse than they did. So I think for me, they just have to be patient. And I think Tottenham fans are really, really having fun because I expected them to have a worse beginning of the season. With the departure of Harry Kane. Yeah. Fortunately enough, it is not that bad. And if they can like brace up a little bit more and get a coach tweak the game a little bit more, they might be a tough team to deal with.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Ugum, let me touch base with you right quick. There, like I said earlier on, most of the big six teams or the big teams in Europe, they all have this presence in the sixth position, the defensive, the midfield position. For Tottenham, they have Basuma and this young man, Salah, who kind of partners in but does more of box to box, to help them in transition and stop opponents from breaking out against the team. Do you think these two guys are good enough? For me, I've looked at Basuma. He has done well so far this season, but it looks like he mentally he's not matured enough to be stable to help Tottenham manage and see out games. What have you made about Tottenham in that position? Do you think they have what it takes to sustain this push at the top end of the table?
Very good observation. Very, very good observation. I think that Bissouma has actually been a little worse than Sarr. Right? Sarr is quite talented, very talented player, lanky, not quite as bulky or as muscular as Bissouma is, but very smart on the ball, quick release of the ball, has the engine to move about the whole field. And so he's a very good player and he's sustained a very consistent level of performance so far across the 12 games. Now, that's where I think they should use Højbjerg more. Højbjerg, I think, got really hungry from being on the bench and has shown, his capabilities over the last two games that he was forced to play because they needed reinforcement in the midfield. I think he'll be very useful to them. Maybe,
it may be a case of bringing him in and dropping one of those two guys and having him kind of stabilize while the other person is a bit more offensive. Maybe play him with Sarr and see how it works out. Or maybe play him with Besuma. I don't know how else they're going to make it work, especially with Madison there playing the offensive midfield as well. So, yeah, everything is going to be sacrificed on the altar of Ange ball. Ange ball is all offense. Press your opponent, move with the passing, and move the ball all around and try and score. But on the other hand, that stability that you would need on the base of midfield to protect your defense may not be there. So, yeah, something will have to give to be able to move forward.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you on that. I don't like you guys have said Tottenham has had a good start to the season. Many, including me, did not expect that to happen considering the exit of Harry Kane. But I think they've been overhyped because some of their wins have not really been earned or like as good as it has been talked about. Yeah, I think Tottenham has done a good job of the media PR. The media somehow has tried to avoid talking about some defects in the team, and rather there has been this hype about Ange. And I think, like most of you have said already, Ange needs to probably don't get soaked into this overhype and get real, because Tottenham is not that team yet. They've done well so far, but they don't look solid. They have a team squad, and he needs to for me, I think he needs to adapt their game and develop the Ange ball in stages. He don't come and just dump it like that and believe that it's going to work, because at the end of the day, if Tottenham find themselves at on 6th or 7th or 8th or 10th in the league, no Tottenham fan is going to accept that, regardless of what Ange ball you're playing. So I think this business is a result-based business. They need to get results, and if he doesn't do that, I don't think anybody's going to clap for him for his so-called Ange ball. Another observation, I think Tottenham fans, and this is the same with most fans, we are very fickle and tend to forget easily. I don't think Daniel Levy has done well for Tottenham the last 4 or 5 years with transfers, buying and selling of players. I think there should be pressure on him as well to continue to improve this team, especially this January. If considering the progress they have made so far, they need to sign more players. But it looks like not Tottenham fan mentions Daniel Levy anymore. It's all about Ange ball now. And if they go that route, knowing Daniel Levy, they're going to give him an escape. Before they remember him again, probably the team would have regressed, because he's not going to sign players and they go back to the same place they find themselves. So in closing out, let me get you guys' prediction. What's your expectation of Tottenham finish this season? They're out in the Carabao Cup. They are not in Europe this season. So they only have the league and the FA Cup to play for this season. So Ray, let me start with you. What do you think is going to be the outcome for the season for Tottenham, considering what they are doing right now, the reputation of Daniel Levy? I don't think he's going to go in January and spend loads of money. Probably they add 1 or 2 players. I don't know. And we know that January signings most times don't really, make much impact in teams. So what do you expect Tottenham to finish this season?
Like I said from the beginning, expecting so much from Tottenham would be like punishing myself. I expect them to do well. I don't expect them to lose out completely. I expect them to do well, but I mean, to finish at the top now, considering the depth of Arsenal, the depth of Man City, and looking at how Chelsea's coming up. I love my boys, you know that. So no, I hope they end up well, and I see them go to Europe. I see them go to Europe. I don't know, but I see them go there. But it all depends on what they do by January. It all depends on the kind of business they do by January. If they're able to bring in some strong support for Son, if they're able to bring some replacement for Madison. If they're able to tweak their games a little bit, yeah, they might bring some surprises. But like I said, I see them go to Europa.
Okay. Chema, what's your prediction? What do you think? What do you expect of Tottenham at the end of the season? Yeah, mute.
Oh, they are not going anywhere near the top four this season, by the way. So they can find, somewhere to put themselves between Chelsea and Wolves and maybe Nottingham Forest, but they're not anywhere near fourth.
And the FA Cup, do you think the Ange board is disciplined enough to probably push for the FA Cup?
He's his first. Does he know how it happens? What happens there? Has he played there before? What's the history of Tottenham and FA Cups? What does it look like? See, the thing about Tottenham, I'm not saying this because, they are in North London just like Arsenal and they are just too noisy for comfort. The thing is, they always are very, very shiny toys. They make a lot of noise. Every season, they just come like hoof, puff, 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 like, they've got something. Do you get? And at the end of the day, you see that they don't gas anything. So for me, just like Mr. Ray said, I come on, like I can't even be seen. I'm rooting for Chelsea this season and Man United. I'm rooting for them to breathe, breathe towards Europa and all of that, but it's not Tottenham.
Really? 2 or 3 games into the season, Tottenham fans, we are singing, we have our Tottenham back. Somebody made a joke. Yeah, you have your Tottenham back, which is you never win anything. So what's your expectation of Tottenham this season? Do you think they can push at the top end of the league? And do you think the way Ange is playing, he can also probably give them an FA Cup win this season? Because that's the only trophy left outside the league that they are in.
Well, Reggie, I don't bite my tongue when I say things. I'm straight. I hate it the way it is. Mind you, Tottenham they're not going to be in the top 6. They're going to finish 7th. Manchester City will win the league. Liverpool will finish 2nd. Arsenal will finish 3rd. Newcastle will finish 4th. 5th place will be Aston Villa. 6th place will be Manchester United. 7th will be Tottenham Hotspur. So that's where I'm putting Tottenham
So what will Chelsea be? Chelsea will be 8.
I've told you I'm not the Kunu drinking fan that will come in here like the other podcast guys that came in here to say Chelsea will win the league and he wanted me to bet with him. I'm realistic. This season, I've told you from day one, it's a season for the players to grow. Next season will be where I start putting the yardstick. So I'm not expecting Chelsea the way this season is going, it's an inconsistent season. You start to have consistency will be from next year when these players are all settled in. But so that's going to be my position for the EPL.
Position, yeah.
Going to the FA Cup. Tottenham will implode. As I said, there is a drastic drop off. Again, there's a drastic drop off in Tottenham Hotspur. It shows you the kind of thin team that they have. And then if they don't strengthen in January, even 7th will be they will drag 7th to Chelsea this season. So that is my prediction. They wouldn't win no trophy. They wouldn't win no trophy, yes.
Ubum, what's your expectation of Tottenham this season? Do you think they can make any claim at the top of the league and of course the FA Cup? Do you think Ange has the discipline to probably try to win the FA Cup this season for Tottenham?
No, he's going to make an attempt, but like Nimi said, he's not going to succeed, mainly because there's still no real substance or structure or would I say a strength
to what they are doing. So far, yes, it's still a bit of a flash, and people are enjoying it. Their fans are screaming and enjoying it, but it hasn't been really tested so far. Well, it just got tested in the last couple of weeks, and it's been found wanting. And so I would even keep Chelsea to win a trophy ahead of Tottenham. No doubt about that, because Chelsea still at least has some solid underbelly, the likes of Thiago Silva and the rest of them, that can, and they have a tactician in Pochettino that can actually make something happen. Yeah, I wouldn't even compare. Ange is good and great. He's coming up, but it's not it's not time yet. Maybe he probably needs to invest more in his squad and then get more used to the league, because the EPL is so challenging. You have to really learn and learn fast and learn from your failures. You're not gonna say, "Hey, this is my way of doing it. It's my way or the highway." Then you'll be taught a lesson, and before you know what's going on, fans will start calling for your head. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna win anything this season, but I think that they will try, thinking about it, unless, like Ray's mentioned, unless they have to invest in their sport in January to be able to make top four. If they don't invest, then they'll be in trouble making top four. Probably they may finish top six.
Yeah, I hear you guys, and I kind of agree with what you guys have said. My own submission is that Tottenham, of course, I don't see them in top four. That top four is going to be a very, very big battle this season. Of course, City is going to be there. Arsenal, not because I'm an Arsenal fan, Arsenal is going to be there. Liverpool is going to be there. The Newcastle are looking like a team that will do anything to stay in that top four. And of course, Chelsea can make a late push towards that. United, I always tell people, there's something about United and Premier League. They can be having a bad season, but somehow between them, the referees, VAR, whatever, somehow I never count United out of top four, or even probably trying to win the league. You remember under Mourinho, they came second at some point with that team that you see there. So Tottenham top four, I don't see them. And secondly, Ange, there's a thing of being a good man manager, and there is this trying to be a nice guy. I see him as somebody that is not strong in terms of instilling a culture. I think he's just around the block, create good atmosphere, everybody to be happy and stuff. And sometimes, if you really want to achieve something, that's not the right way to go. So I don't think he has the strong approach to instill some discipline, because going back to United, we saw what happened on that only, and United has been suffering from that because these players are used to certain way. Well, I remember the popular Conte rant before he left Tottenham. He made some very, very serious statements and claims about Tottenham, and those things, they have been the story of Tottenham for so many years. These players, every coach comes, there is this noise, before you know it, back to square one. It's the same players. You still have some might be a good player, but is he a strong, like you mentioned the Thiago Silva there for Chelsea, is he a player that when the chips are down, when you need people to stand up and fight for the team, both on and off, can you count on him? Because now he's the captain, he's the senior player in the team. Maddison, is he that player? Maddison was in Leicester last season. Leicester had a chance of surviving relegation. Could Maddison drag them out? No. So I don't think they have that spine to drag the team. And Ange looks to me like a man that rather wants to be seen as a nice guy than to achieve things. And if I'm right, then they're going to go back to the same Tottenham that we know. It doesn't look to me like a coach that will go to Daniel Levy and say, I need 2 players this January, and these are the players I want to sign, and try to drag it down with him. And if that's not the case, then of course Tottenham is a long way from changing their history that we know them of in the last 40, 50 decades. 40, 50 years, they've don't win nothing. So, guys, thank you for coming to the show. I don't know if anybody has anything to add. We looked at Liverpool and Tottenham so far this season, 12 games into the season. Liverpool second on the table, Tottenham fourth. These two teams so far have not done badly, but we have seen their strength and their concerns about the team. And it looks like both teams, though at the top of the table, are heading opposite direction. Liverpool, from what we have discussed today, looks like a team that can push for the title. While Tottenham, we expect them to go the other way as the season progresses. Thank you guys for stopping by. I don't know, Ugum, do you have anything to say? Anybody have anything to say before we round up the show?
No, always a pleasure. Looking forward to the next show.
Yeah, with the next one, we'll be looking at Arsenal and City on Friday. Guys, viewers, don't forget to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe if you have not subscribed to this show, and stay with us. I know we have made some very controversial submissions today. If you do not agree with what we said, let's hear your opinion on this, on the review of Tottenham and Liverpool so far in the season. And we look forward to the next show on Thursday. Like I said, City and Arsenal will be looking at their season so far, and also looking to the future, what we think their season will pan out to be. Thank you, guys. Ray, it's your first time on the show. We're good to see you. I'm happy to see you, man. It's been a long time coming. Ray is my high school mate. He lives in Canada, and then Chelsea fan. We have, of course, we can imagine what happens in the forum where you have this man and the Bados. Our high school chat group. You can imagine what goes on there, and some other Chelsea fans there as well. So I've been trying to get him on the show, but he's a busy man. And
I just wanted to say something real quick. I'm seeing so much bias. This is turning to be like the Nigerian government right now. How can you schedule Tottenham, Liverpool? When are you scheduling Chelsea review? Is it when season has ended or what?
No. As a matter of fact, I tried to put it on Saturday to get your.
We're okay.
Because Bados and Chima hardly have time during the week. So I said, okay, let me give them the benefit of that to try to be here on the show. But I think Bados will be here on Saturday. Chima says that time doesn't work for him. So we're going to have a full Chelsea house on Saturday. And I know it's going to be fun. Choma,
What's the time? Give me time.
It's going to be 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Nigerian time.
The house should be fumigated out of. We don't want to see Arsenal face.
Give me time.
Man, you face.
What is that?
Choma, don't worry yourself.
It's 10 p.m. Nigerian time.
I see what
that will still surprise you.
I see what Osborne is trying.
Definitely, Chama, you'll be here.
He's trying to assimilate himself into Chelsea. He will see it.
I'll wear red to your Chelsea show.
We are sure, right?
Chelsea.
No, that's not fun.
Okay.
God forbid, my brother. God forbid.
Forbid. Okay, see where you're coming from. You don't like major trophies. You just like to play around.
You see, they always be Chelsea fans. So on Saturday, guys, we already know what we're going to get out of here. Bados is going to be here. This is the man that has said that Chelsea will win the league. So we're going to.
There's no Chelsea winning the league is like Obi winning presidents in Nigeria. There's no route to that.
Don't be that one. Don't be that.
That's no route to that right now.
Bados has been on some Bados stuff for him to say that.
His situation is bad.
Coming down
Situation is bad.
Yeah, probably he just took a hike in the mountain and decided and came down. I forgot reality. So, but we'll wait and see. So, guys, already you can see it's going to be fun on Saturday discussing Chelsea and United. So I'll try to get some United fans also on the show on that day.
Okay.
So Thursday will be City Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal is never lack Arsenal fans on the show. We'll try to get a few City fans as well and see how that goes. Thank you, guys, and happy to have you, and hope to see you soon. Bye for now. Ciao.